My name is Carlin, and this is my real story. So I grew up in, a pretty big family. So I had 4 sisters and a brother. It was a good childhood growing up, like lots of fun. We lived on a pretty big house with a lot of land, so we played outside all the time. Neighbors were always over. My mom was really involved. My dad wasn't really involved with us kids. He worked a lot, and yeah, from as long as I can remember, him and my mom didn't really get along. Growing up, I remember not ever thinking it was anything weird. Like, I thought that's just how a home was, I guess. I didn't, like that was normal, that, my parents didn't really show affection to each other or talk to each other much, and that it wasn't until probably middle school where I started realizing like something was kind of wrong. I remember as a kid my parents would fight, but then when I started getting to high school, or middle school probably, I started realizing like, why doesn't my dad care more? I think he wanted to care more. I think the relationship with him and my mom was just bad, and they were just staying together because of the kids. And I'm sure my mom was scared. She probably didn't want to leave because he was the one making all the money, but it was hard. It was hard processing through middle school and high school. That was a big part of my journey of just trying to understand what that was all about, especially because it all came to a head when I was in the middle of high school and my parents finally got a divorce then. So at that point it was kind of like, okay, you can't just, it wasn't just something that was happening. We were moving and changing houses, and the question, am I going to keep in touch with my dad? Am I not? And what's this relationship look like now that we don't live in the same house? But he was never a bad dad. Like he just was silent. I don't know when it was exactly, but I remember having this kind of thought was, okay, God, wow, you can be my father. And that was really powerful to me. I've had times when I've been like afraid that like I'm gonna be like my dad. Like, and it's like, well, what if somehow I just wake up one morning and I'm just like my dad? But I think that thought like motivates me to like just want to be part of my kid's life, be what I didn't have to, I guess. I haven't talked to my dad for over 4 years. Every now and then the thoughts come up like, should I call him? And the thing is, we'd kind of like rekindled some stuff. We were talking. It wasn't like I'd cut him off or he'd cut me off, and then it just kind of died out. And like, I think I was waiting for him to like reach back out, because it was always like me kind of reaching out. Being a father, I have had moments where I've come to the place where I don't like pretend to know all the ins and outs of what was happening in the relationship with him and my mom and him and us. And so I don't have any, I don't know why he made the decisions like he made. And he did have a chance. There was a point where he had apologized to me for just not being the best father. That was really good, and to hear him say that, I guess. And now I think maybe he just doesn't want to intrude. Yeah, I don't feel any anger towards him or anything like that. By the middle of my 7th grade year, I think, or somewhere around there, is when I probably made my first decision, like personally, of that I wanted to be a Christian and follow Jesus. And I had a really strong sense of morals, like my family, in my family, about doing the right thing. And so like some of that really made sense to me, faith-wise, like, oh, this makes sense of why I would do this. Freshman year, I remember coming to like a pretty big, I guess, bypass in my faith, of where I had these friends who were wanting to live life this one way, and I was had these other friends who were in youth group who were who were saying, no, that's not the way to live life. And so I kind of ended up making this decision with God that I wasn't gonna get involved in that, and that I was going to try to follow him, and that part of that meant I was going to have to like give up those friends. Into college, my faith, I just felt, was like growing. When I got into ministry, my first ministry job, I was a youth pastor part-time, and things were going pretty well. I felt like I was where God wanted me to be. And through some circumstances, one of the other pastors at the church was having an inappropriate relationship with this girl that I was actually involved with, like we'd been engaged. And so that was like the first crisis, and then it brought out all this ugliness in the leadership that I didn't realize was happening. And so that was really hard. And then I had left and I started another group with some other people, and another similar situation happened again. What's the point of doing this? If this is how people really are, if you can't really trust anyone, if they're just gonna, say one thing and then be different behind your back, and you can just expect that you're gonna find out that people are lying to you, and that things are gonna be ruined, and it's gonna hurt all these other people that you've been trying to help. I was like, what's the point? So that like I was like done at that point. I don't really want to do ministry anymore. I never like gave up like my faith in Jesus, but I was kind of just done with the church, and I didn't really want to go to church. I didn't really want to be in ministry. It was just too hard, I guess. It was just coming to grips with the fact that there are evil things in the world. People make choices that are hurt, and that part of loving unconditionally and sacrificially is opening yourself up to the vulnerability of being hurt, even hurt greatly. And that's part of being and doing what Jesus did, I guess. Comes along with the territory. And so instead of being mad at the bad things, or mad at the people that make bad choices, or mad at the institution that seems to be broken or messed up, it was turning and realizing that Jesus can take those bad things and still bring good things out of them. And in the ultimate end, he brings the ultimate good out of death. That didn't come in like a moment, though. That wasn't like, oh, I'm done, and then I read a verse in the Bible and I'm like, oh, cool, I see how this all works, cool. That's like still something like I wrestle with, I think. It's still, I feel like hard, callous parts of my heart sometimes when things happen, and I'm like, yeah, that's not Jesus. That's the ugliness of the world, and I don't want that. I want to be open. I want to be loving. I want to be like Jesus would be.